It's good morning, William Lane. Thank you for joining us at Yellow Shelf.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure, William. I'm speaking to you today. We're local. We are in both in the same region, so it's pretty exciting to support local. Your newest book, Saturation, which I have a copy here, is out this week. Congratulations. What do we need to know about your newest book, Saturation?
Well, I think it's quite topical at the moment. Um, so, two of the main characters, Ambrose and Ursula, are librarians, and they live in a society where a fascist ruler has come to power and wants to control the libraries. And basically, they have to defend their collections. Uh, it's set in the future, a few generations in the future. Set in a small city and a society that's sort of been depleted. It's averted the climate crisis, but it's managing it. So some things have gone missing, some technology's gone missing, and it's sort of a depleted world, a small world. And in this world, there's very few children, and children are rare and so highly prized. Ambrose and Ursula want a child, and when they finally do have a child, they find it's born into a very difficult world where knowledge is controlled, education is controlled, and it goes on from there. I think broadly the novel's about what we choose to remember and what we have to forget, and what we choose to forget. And it's not just the characters who have to make those choices in their personal lives, but it's on a societal level. So this society that's portrayed in the novel has to forget some things, and it has to choose what to remember. And it's a very small world, and it's saturated. So much has happened in the course of history that this small group of humans can't really cope. They can't absorb what's happened to humanity. And so all these events from our collective history, they start re-emerging, often in random and unexpected ways. And I do see resonances with what's happening now in our world. I wrote the novel during a lockdown about 4 years ago. The lockdown actually gave me a chance to write uninterrupted for quite a while. And so I was hoping to write a very fluent novel, and I hope I've achieved that. I wanted to make it feel as if it was written in one sitting. Obviously, I worked on the language a lot. Language is really important to me, but I wanted not to labour over it. I wanted to write it as fast as I could and as rhythmically as I could. So it was probably the most enjoyable novel I've ever written, and I'm quite happy with how it's turned out. What I didn't expect was that the themes in the novel of censorship and so on would be basically kind of come true. I thought it was like a dystopian future that I was writing about 4 years ago. But I find now we're actually living in it, and this is happening right now. And I find that terrifying.
Yeah.
Our library systems are under attack.
Yeah.
And in the United States, the president is trying to strip all the funding out of libraries. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And 10 years ago, you thought this was unheard of. 5 years ago, even.
Yeah.
It's happening now. One of the things that the novel tries to show is that the future is happening now. And one of the themes of the novel is how time is felt, and how it's imminent. It's with us. The future and the past are with us now, and the future has arrived, and we're living it now.
Indeed. William, tell us about, tell us about a bit about you. You've written at least five other novels,
Yeah.
I'm led to believe. Um, and tell us about your background as an author, even your career journey. I'd love to hear about you.
Well, I'm a teacher by trade. I've been a primary school teacher, an English language teacher. I lived in Indonesia for a while, teaching English. My first novel was set in Indonesia, a novel called Over the Water. Um, I grew up in Sydney. I had a very privileged upbringing that I had so much space. I grew up in the 70s and we had just acres of bushland around us. I grew up on the edge of Sydney and I could just run around in the bush. Mum and dad were at work. It was the
Yeah,
70s, it was kind of unregulated in many ways. But that was a great opportunity for me to explore the world and
sure.
to have space for my imagination to develop. I was also the youngest of a large family. I was the youngest of six children, and they all had opposing worldviews. So I got to hear a lot of different world, different,
Yeah, that's
different.
great.
Yeah, it was really
Yeah.
made me see the world from different points of view.
Yeah.
And, I lived on the north coast for a while. I have three children I've just become an empty nester, it seems. So that's a big change in my life.
Yeah.
My youngest is 19.
Wow.
Yeah, and so and I have a lovely partner who is a librarian, and so I get
Oh,
all the I get all the gossip what's going on.
yeah. Oh, that's great. William, tell us, are there any more books, do you think? Like, are you going to keep writing? I know that's a bit of a bold question. Is there more books?
Yes, I'm working on a few stories.
Okay.
Very interested in. I've got a story called Time, and it's about different stages of life,
Yep.
and particularly about the early childhood and raising children. I think raising children is a sort of taboo topic that hasn't been written about so much. Particularly, it has in the last 5 or 6 years. I've noticed a lot more works coming out about raising children. But before that, it was really hard to find a novel or a story
Yeah.
that actually dealt with child raising, which is extraordinary when you come to think we've all had to go through this experience of being raised.
Yes.
It's integral to our experience as human beings. So I've been trying to write about that from the male point of view, and
Sure.
that was for a few years there. I was a stay-at-home dad, and it was an extraordinary experience, and but I don't think many men get to have that experience. So I'm trying to
True.
write about that.
Yeah, great. Well, look, any future books, I would love to have you back on Yellow Shelf
Thank you.
to support your work. William, tell us how we connect with you. I follow you on Facebook, and that's how I know you've got a book tour and book launches coming up. You're very busy, but tell us, how do we connect with you? And if we're curious about the book, point us in the right direction. I will put this in the show notes to make it easy for anyone to go there.
I think the Facebook author page is a good place. Just William Lane author.
Yep.
Also the publisher, Transit Lounge.
Yes.
You can connect to me through them.
Awesome. And I know you can also get the book through Transit Lounge, but I'll put a couple of links in for anyone who is curious about the book or curious to connect with you and follow you. William, thank you so much for joining us here first time on Yellow Shelf. Like I said, I would love to have you back. But good luck and enjoy the launch and enjoy your newest novel. And I'm sure you'll get wonderful feedback. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I already have a couple of people lined up who desperately want to read this, so that's good news.
Great. Thanks so much, Joanna.
Cheers. Have a great day.
You too.